New York, and welcome to the Music News at Noon on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. This is where we look at the latest headlines in music, tech, and what's going on in the industry. We'll be starting the program in just a few moments, but first, some notes about today's program. Feel free to invite your friends to join in this show, and if you'd like to offer your thoughts on any of today's topics, you can request to join the stage and participate in the discussion, or comment in the chat in the video stream. You can find all of today's headlines on our website, musicindustrycity.com. Just head to the latest Music News at Noon post to see all the articles we referenced during today's broadcast. You can also register for free to get unlimited access to all the articles, news, and events in the city. And you may also watch us live on the video stream right from the website or on the Music Industry City YouTube channel. All right, is everybody ready? We begin our countdown right now.
Hello and welcome. It's great to have you with us on this Tuesday. I'm Peter Schwing, and here's what's happening. Kobalt has a $1 billion catalog. Well, Hipgnosis also has $1 billion in music rights. TikTok NFTs are having problems. Facebook expands its live audio feature, and we'll check in with our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, to talk about how the UK music calls on government to remove barriers to closing the gender pay gap. Plus, our daily Spotify update. Those stories coming up. But first, let's take a look at this day in music history. All right, in this day in music history, we honor those who have passed away, those who were born, and some interesting tidbits. And in 1985, Ricky Wilson of the B-52s died from complications from AIDS. On this day in 1997, John Denver was killed when the handmade experimental airplane he was flying ran out of gas and crashed off the coast of Monterey Bay in California. In 2016, we lost American soul singer-songwriter and record producer Sonny Sanders at the age of 77. He formed the Satin Tones in Detroit in 1957, becoming the first vocal group signed to Motown. And born on this day in 1935, Italian singer Luciano Pavarotti. 1955 brought us American singer-songwriter Pat Denizio, founder of the Smithereens. In 1956, David Leffs from the English punk rock band The Damned. And 1969, Marty McGuire, multi-instrumentalist with the Dixie Chicks. And some interesting tidbits on this day in 1957. During an Australian tour, Little Richard publicly renounced rock and roll and embraced God, telling a story of dreaming of his own damnation after praying to God when one of his engines on a plane he was on caught fire. The singer threw 4 diamond rings valued at $8,000 into Sydney's Hunter River and soon launched a gospel career. 5 years later, he would switch back to rock and roll. And in 1969, a DJ on Detroit's WKNR radio station received a phone call telling him that if you play the Beatles' Strawberry Fields Forever backwards, you hear John Lennon say the words, "I bury Paul." I buried Paul. This started a whole worldwide rumor that Paul McCartney was dead. And we could talk about Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper's and all those hidden clues, hints, whatever you want to call them. We could talk about that in a whole different room. But that was this day in 1969. And in 1978, whilst living at the Chelsea Hotel in New York City, Sex Pistols' Sid Vicious called the police to say that someone had stabbed his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen. He was arrested and charged with murder and placed in the detox unit of a New York prison. Vicious died of a heroin overdose before the case went to trial. All right, and that does it for this day in history. To set the stage for a discussion, we provide informed perspectives and commentary on current headlines. If you'd like to offer your thoughts on one of today's topics, you can request to join the stage. I'd also like to say hi to everybody that is viewing the show on our video live stream, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and directly from the musicindustrycity.com website. And just to put out a little notice, we have a brand new website. So if you're tuning in, go to musicindustrycity.com. Check it out. It is so good. It's sleek, much more helpful and easier to navigate. We also have social walls now. So if you logged in, so register, you can do it for free or you can support. You have options there, but we have a social wall. So when you wake up in the morning, you head over to musicindustrycity.com and you just post something on the wall. How you doing? You want to share something you're working on? Have any questions? So now we're really building out this community. We have a lot to come with the broadcast network. New shows or digital event series. We have a part of the TPOI virtual conference this week. We're doing a sessions, Future Music Industry City Future Music Forum sessions on October 14th, and we're making a big announcement there. So with that, to stay up to date, go over to musicindustrycity.com for more news, articles, and events. And with that, let's get to it. All right, and this one is from Music Business Worldwide. You can see all the articles we are referencing at musicindustrycity.com. Check out today's music industry news at noon post. Kobalt is selling a music catalog for $1 billion, and KKR is in prime position to buy it. On Music Business Worldwide Talking Trends podcast on Wednesday of last week, two major points were made. One, KKR is planning to invest a lot more money in music via a new entity, and a fund linked with Kobalt Capital, the financial management arm of Kobalt Music Group, owns a significant collection of copyrights. They stated that this fund's copyright portfolio could be sold for up to $1 billion to a willing buyer. That was on Music Business Worldwide podcast on Wednesday, October 6th. Just a few days after that, those two forecasts have merged into one of the year's biggest music news stories. According to a new Billboard article, Kobalt is aiming to sell its Kobalt Music Royalty Fund 2 for over $1 billion, and that it's nearing an agreement with a group of investors that includes KKR. Kobalt Capital manages two different funds. The first Kobalt Fund contained copyrights that were sold for $323 million to Hipgnosis Songs Fund last November. And the larger of these funds, Kobalt Music Royalty Fund 2, was established in 2017 with $600 million in backing from institutional investors such as UK pension scheme Railpen. Kobalt Music Royalty Fund 2 later bought Matt Pincus's Songs music publishing collection for about $160 million, and the fund also owns recordings and publishing libraries built by U.S. independent Glassnote. These were sold to the fund as part of a late 2018 global cooperation with Kobalt-owned AWOL. Sony then paid $430 million for AWOL and Kobalt neighboring rights earlier this year. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority is looking into that deal, though. KKR appears to be building a new pool of money, which is to purchase its way further into the music industry. KKR formed a separate acquisition agreement with BMG this year, claiming to have at least $1 billion to buy copyrights. All right, well, not to be outdone, let's talk about Blackstone and Hipgnosis. Well, Blackstone is investing $1 billion in music rights via the Mercuriadis and Hipgnosis, and there could be billions more on the way. This has been such a crazy last 2 years and then some of catalog acquisitions. This is amazing. All right. So Blackstone, which is one of the world's most prominent investors, has confirmed a $1 billion investment in music rights through Mercuriadis. He said that the money will go to a new fund called Hipgnosis Songs Capital. Hipgnosis Songs Capital is distinct from the Hipgnosis Songs Fund Song, which has invested over $2 billion in music rights. The Family Music Ltd, formerly known as Hipgnosis Song Management, is now investing an undisclosed sum in the investment management advisory company HSM. It will be the exclusive investment manager for the Hipgnosis Song Fund and the Blackstone-backed Hipgnosis Songs Capital. Blackstone's billion-dollar investment is a game changer but don't expect it to stop there. The company plans to spend millions more on music licenses through Hipgnosis Songs Capital in the coming years. Kasim Abbas, Senior Managing Director of Blackstone Tactical Opportunities, has led the new partnership deal with Mercuriadis. And speaking to Music Business Worldwide in an exclusive interview, he said, quote, "At this point in time, what we're looking to do as a starting point really is acquire about $1 billion worth of catalogs. I would emphasize that's just the start. Our ambition is much more substantial than that." Also worth noting is Blackstone's new investment in Mercuriadis' investment firm Hipgnosis Song Management. And Abbas didn't disclose the investment amount, but said HSM's goal is to maximize the commercial returns of all music assets under the Hipgnosis name, whether through royalty, sync licensing, or other means. Wow. I mean, that's just too massive. I mean, this is like, when do these independent quote unquote companies start becoming called majors? Like, is there a way? I mean, they're not a label per se. Okay. So, but there are publishing, Warner Chappell is considered, falls under Warner as a major. I mean, Hipgnosis Songs is publicly traded. So are we going to have to redefine what a major is at some point? And this was a question years ago with BMG. I mean, BMG before Sony, BMG was kind of like the cousin to the majors. It's like, what is it? Is it come down to market share? This is really interesting to see, or is it just what they're due? It's like, because they're not necessarily a record label. So, all right, let's lighten up a little bit, get away from the acquisition. So we're going to talk about Bands in Town, and this is from Music Ally. Bands in Town creates new community for its artist clients. Originally focused on live music and serves to help fans find concerts to attend, Bands in Town has pivoted towards live streaming during the pandemic. They launched a live stream subscription service in January 2021 and publishing regular surveys of artists and fans showing that they thought about live streams and the eventual return of physical concerts. Now the company has launched something new, which is a community for artists as well as the people in the music industry to talk touring, marketing, live streaming, and more, share advice, get feedback, and build connections. So the community is free and currently open to anyone who is a registered user of the Bands in Town for Artists tool. For example, the artists and their teams. All right. So, Bandstown always doing great stuff. What a great pivot they did over during the pandemic. I mean, it was a really smart move that they did. And it was really helpful to so many artists that with live touring being out. All right. So, just before we head over to Angela and our UK correspondent, just a reminder, we have a new website, musicindustrycity.com. Check it out. Sign up. There's going to be so much more coming. We have a big announcement on October 14th that we are doing during the Power of Indie virtual conference. We are doing the Music Industry City Future Music Forum series on Thursday, and it's a great lineup. You can see the lineup at musicindustrycity.com. All right, and let's check in with Angela across the pond, because this one, she's going to talk about UK music calls on government to remove barriers to closing the gender pay gap. Angela.
Thanks, Peter. Cross-sector trade group.
Oop, did we just lose you?
Gap, generally and specifically within the music industry, following the latest publication of stats on the issue by British companies. While the music industry has introduced several excellent schemes to ensure that women earn the same as men for doing the same job, the trade association claims that, quote, there are still worrying gender pay gaps in the music industry and workplaces everywhere. End quote. Employers must take on these problems, but governments and legislators must also act in specific areas, says UK Music. Since 2017, it has been a legal requirement in the UK for companies with more than 250 employees to annually report information on the disparity in pay between men and women within their organizations. In 2020, Sony Music's UK branch paid women the most, 91p for every £1 earned by men. The same as last year, Warner Music UK pays 82p, down from 86p. Universal Music UK reported that it is paying women 75p for every £1 earned by men. Spotify's UK division reported a rate of 81p, down from 86p in 2019. Live Nation UK reported women at the company earned 86p for every £1 that men earn, up from 74p in 2019. AEG Presents does not provide its own report, but its parent company, Anschutz Sports Holdings, or ASH as it's also known, reported paying 80p, a sharp rise from 61p in 2019. While some organizations have made progress, the pay gap between men and women in the music industry remains. UK Music Chief Executive Jamie Goodwin says, quote, "There have been some welcome improvements on tackling the gender pay gap, which will come down as more women take on senior and leadership positions within their organizations. Many businesses in the music industry have introduced excellent schemes to help bring about positive changes. However, there are still worrying gender pay gaps in the music industry and workplaces everywhere," end quote. UK Music Diversity Task Force Deputy Chair Paulette Long adds, quote, "The pace of change must be increased so that women do not have to wait years for steps that will lead to more equitable pay outcomes," end quote. But how the government reacts and if the next wave of music business female pay numbers in a year indicate more change is unknown. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date as more information emerges on this story. And as a woman working in the music industry myself in the UK, I can tell you that many of my colleagues and competitors in the business have often talked about the wage disparities and have chalked them up to things such as women starting families, women coming into the business later, or women requiring roles that are less leadership positions. At the end of the day, this study aims to close that gap by offering them options that, thanks to the unexpected byproduct of COVID and said lockdowns, levels the playing field a bit. So hopefully we'll see a much smaller gap, if no gap at all, fingers crossed, on the horizon. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you for that. Yeah, the article goes deeper if you want to look more into it, because they also talk about on the other side, like, the collection societies, PPL and PRS, women actually earn more, like it's just very slightly, and it's £1.02 for every pound that men earn, and at Wembley Stadium, They've really bumped up. Well, last year's pay report between men and women was perfectly balanced. This year it's reported that women are earning £1.47 for every pound paid to men. So it's good to see those organizations have worked on balance and have turned we really just want to get parity. That's really what we want. We want it to be equitable across all lines.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that, apologies, I do have to jump for now because I've got a meeting that's ongoing that I took a break to do the news for. There's some quality articles. I've seen the rest, and I will certainly be reading the rest of the articles for the day. So I will certainly be back to see you all tomorrow. But from the UK, my name is Angela Randall. Back to you, Peter. All
right. Thank you, Angela, and thanks for taking the time out from the meeting. All right. Let's stick with just something else about the UK, and this is from IQ Mag. British band crowdfunding tour British band is crowdfunding a tour cancellation coverage. Due to the shortage of commercial insurance, Marillion is seeking fans to insure their upcoming UK tour. This is pretty interesting what they're doing. The band claims they've spent over £150,000 preparing for their 10-date The Light at the End of the Tunnel tour, but they could lose it all if just one member contracts COVID. An artist or performer wanting to self-isolate is not covered by the British government's new £800 million insurance policy for live events. The band says, quote, "The tour would be canceled, but the group would have to honor payments for lighting trucks, tour buses, and crew. This would be on top of not receiving any money from any remaining gigs that had not been played. Their idea is to set up a program called Lightsavers where fans may donate money to help out. Lucy Jordish, the band's manager, says, quote, "We're asking our fans to pledge money that will be held in escrow, and if it all goes COVID-free, it will be returned to them at the end of the tour. The money will be used to cover the band's unavoidable expenditures if we have to cancel. Fans who donate, regardless of if the money is needed or not by the band, will receive rewards determined by the size of their financial pledge, such as having their names appear in the tour program or being given a download of a show from the tour. The tiers range from £25 up to £250, with the highest two already being sold out. This is a really unique way of engaging with fans. And Marillion, I mean, this is a band that's been around for quite some time, and it has a wonderful fan base. And this isn't the first time they've done any kind of tour funding. They had their fans, I think it was like £60,000 they raised to help them fund their kickoff tour, their tour of the U.S. years ago. So this is an interesting way, and this whole cancellation insurance, not just for bands, but for venues, for promoters, for everybody across the board, it's just such a challenge. So it's great to see this. All right, let's talk about staying with one more international. Well, international to me, that's our neighbors upstairs over in Ontario. This is from Billboard. Ontario lifts limits on venues where vaccine proof is required. Canada's most populous province lifted capacity limits for most indoor and outdoor venues requiring proof of vaccination and for certain outdoor settings with the capacity under 20,000. Smaller clubs with standing room only will continue to face seated capacity issues. As of Saturday, concert venues, theaters, and cinemas could operate at full capacity. The new rules also apply to the spectator areas of sports facilities and recreational fitness and commercial film and television productions with studio audiences. The authorities stated that there have been limited outbreaks in those areas. Christine Elliott, Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, said the administration is cautiously lifting capacity limitations in select settings where they know evidence of vaccination requirements provide an added layer of safety to Ontarians. More than 81% of adults in Ontario aged 12 and older were completely vaccinated as of Friday. In preparation for the new NHL and NBA seasons, the new rules will benefit large music venues like Toronto's Scotia Blank Arena and Ottawa's Canadian Tire Centre. But they won't help struggling music venues like the Horseshoe, El Macambo, and the Garrison, which still need social distancing and capacity restrictions to make a profit and compensate performers. The smaller venues have a seating capacity limit. For example, the Garrison can only seat 110 people, or 32% of its authorized capacity, according to the owner, Sean Bellring. All right, some challenges, and this is, every country is going through different arrangements. In the UK, we've seen that Scotland, Netherlands, everywhere. So every place has some different rules and regulations, and we just want this to get better, and we want to support those venues as best as possible. All right, let's talk about some tech. It's time for tech news. So let's go through the social platforms here. We got some Twitter. We got some Facebook. All right, what else do we got? We have some TikTok, and we're going to end up with our favorite Spotify spot. For those that are tired of Twitter trolls, this is from The Verge. Now every Twitter web user can soft block annoying followers. Twitter is introducing a new tool that allows users to unfollow a following account without blocking them, an action which is also known as a, quote, soft block. What you do is go to your profile, click on followers, and click on the three-dot menu next to a follower and select remove this follower. The removed follower will not be notified. Unlike a hard block, a soft block allows users to see your tweets and direct messages, but not your feed. However, if you unfollow someone, they can refollow you. It's useful if you don't want to obstruct but need some space from another user. Twitter's new system is easier than the previous one, which involved manual blocking and unblocking. The ability to remove a follower is Twitter's latest feature to give users more control over their experience on the platform to help curb abuse and harassment. In September, the company began testing a new safety mode feature that temporarily auto-blocks abusive accounts, though it's unclear when that may roll out wide. All right. Let's talk about some TikTok, and this is Music Ally. Again, if you go to musicindustrycity.com, you can look at the music industry news at noon, the latest post. You can see the article links, and you can check out all the headlines. Plus, I don't know if anybody's doing it, but you can go right to the website, and when we're live, the video is right there on the top left. It's like you'll see the music news at noon, and you'll see the video when there's a graphic. That means we're live. You just press that. You can watch the news while you're looking at the website and checking out everything else. And also, we have our playlist, so you can listen to music while you're posting articles. Yes, there is a social feature now on the new website, so you can post whatever you want in the social wall. So with that, let's go over and talk about TikTok plans to launch NFTs reportedly run into trouble. All right, so last month, TikTok made the announcement that it was launching its first range of TikTok Top Moments NFTs, which we're kicking off with Lil Nas X collaboration on October. And, well, how did that go? Well, it didn't. The NFT didn't launch, and Lil Nas X's name has been removed from the TikTok Top Moments homepage. And a source close to the situation now tells Rolling Stone the release won't be coming out at all. It reported while claiming that another of the launch partners, TikToker and now recording artist Bella Poarch, has been actively contemplating pulling out of the program due to worries about its execution. For now, her name remains at the Top Moment site, though. TikTok has managed to launch an NFT based on Detroit rapper Curtis Roach's Bored in the House viral video, which was just under a week of its auction to go, which has received a top bid of 3 ETH, which is around $10.5 thousand at the time of writing. All right. Facebook, live audio. Yes, more Clubhouse clones, as they like to say. We discussed Fireside Chat, which came officially launched. They made the announcement a couple weeks ago. Not a Clubhouse clone. It's something completely different, but we've seen Twitter, Spaces, Discord. Everything's tried to be Clubhouse. They've already started pivoting from their formats. And, Clubhouse is Clubhouse. And what Facebook is now doing is they're expanding the live audio feature to more creators globally. And it's bringing this live audio room feature to a global audience. Facebook is making the function, which they're calling a Clubhouse competitor, available to groups as well. Initially available only on Facebook's iOS app, the feature is now available on the Android app as well. Desktop users can now listen to live audio rooms, but only create them using a mobile app. Admins can set a private or public audio room for the group. They're also expanding its Soundbites short audio function in the U.S. Soundbites appear in the user's news feeds. Users record audio in a separate tool within Facebook. Soundbites are like Instagram Reels, but with audio. Facebook said the tool is currently under beta testing, but has been well received by developers. I guess that's kind of like the scissors here, the clips now on Clubhouse, which also is kind of a Twitch thing. That's where you can take clips. All right, so Facebook, going back, entered the podcasting game in the summer, although it's still only available to U.S. Long-term vision in offering a holistic experience that brings together new distribution opportunities, discovery, monetization, social connections for podcasts. All right, so the company is also focused on moderation tools within its social audio experiences, including tools that proactively and automatically identify content. So this is all part of what's going on there. And this is, really interesting what's going on and how Facebook, it's like, oh, we leave Facebook and then like, oh, well, here's something else that we did for you. Check this out. So people come back. It's like you can't leave. Yeah, it's like the hashtag delete Facebook. It's like you can't leave. You want to go back, you have to test it out. And it just is enough of a distraction from something else. So if anybody's used it, feel free to raise your hand and join the stage. We'd love to discuss that more. And with that, we have one more, and it's
Big green dot. It's the spot.
It's the favorite segment, the Spotify spot. And this is from Digital Music News. This one says, Spotify sells Sound Better back to original founders after the 2 years. Sound Better is an artist service portal that helps artists collaborate, songwriters, producers, and sound engineers. Spotify may be trying to avoid stomping on industry toes by selling this back. Dom Sanya, Spotify's global head and creators market, said, together Spotify and Sound Better benefited. I want to try that again. Together, Spotify and Sound Better benefited from many synergies, but as Sound Better continues to evolve, both parties agreed that the company is best positioned for the next stage of growth by returning to the founders that have been committed to shepherding it from the beginning. Sound Better works on a commission basis, charging a nominal fee when hired. So Spotify looks to be focused on an alternative revenue streams. Marquee charges artists to reach follows, while Spotify studies the human brain to better monetize audio and video ads. In 2019, Sound Better pricing was not disclosed by Spotify. Spotify's head of product marketing, Charlton Lamb, called it a, quote, creative and collaboration tool, but rather than courting musicians, Spotify appears to be courting podcasters these days. Spotify stopped allowing musicians to directly submit songs to Spotify in July of 2019. The record labels believe Spotify would try to replace them. Spotify has no such opposition for podcasts or funding podcast creators, which is why the company is focusing so much of its efforts there. Beating out Apple to become the new king of podcasts is Spotify's goal, and streaming music to fans is a secondary one. This is coming right from Digital Music News, and it's really just something we've been talking about for years now. And to wrap up with the article, they're saying it's like, no doubt music is still vital to the Spotify ecosystem, but being a part of the creative process isn't. Spotify has replaced it with far more lucrative podcasts. And so what we've been talking about is like Spotify is an entertainment distribution platform. And, you know, we've seen it. I'm just waiting for video to really kick in gear. I mean, they've been quietly sitting there. You hear about video every now and then. It's been for years they've had video, and it's not being like this focus. I mean, what they're building out now, they have, you know, with Green Room, what they've been doing with podcasts, video. It's an entertainment platform, and the streaming music is a secondary thing for them, I guess. That's what it seems like. And this is, so when we talk about streams and just like music, well, it's good to have more people on the platform, but does that add? I mean, this is an interesting conversation, because if we look at it, you have podcasting and music streaming inside one platform, whereas Apple split out their podcasting. So you have Apple Podcasts and you have Apple Music, two different platforms. Here is the thought. And some people have done studies on this, and I would love to see if there are some actual hard numbers on this. And I can speak from experience of looking at our podcasts over the years from that time it split and Spotify brought in podcasting. On Apple, when we have our podcast on Apple, our average listener rate, of course, it would decline over time as any show, but the drop off for our podcast, if you compared the charts of audience drop-off on Spotify, it was much greater, much sooner. So whereas maybe if you dropped in the first 10 minutes, you dropped to 65% listeners on Apple, on Spotify, you would drop to 50. And that downward trend would keep going, whereas as Apple would level out. Now, again, this is only speaking from our experience, and I'm just grabbing numbers anyway. But the difference was that by having podcasts and music inside of one platform, is that distracting? Is that something that it's too easy to jump around on the platform? Whereas in Apple, you're in the podcast platform, so you might just continuously listen to podcasts without thinking about going to listen to music. So you would have longer listening durations and audience retention. So that's the takeaway. That's the thought on this. That is it for the reads today. If there is, I'm going to put a few minutes on the clock here. Let's put 3 minutes on the clock. If you'd like to offer your thoughts or comments about today's topic, now is your chance to join the conversation. So if there's anything that you like, that you want to talk about, offer some commentary, feel free to raise your hand. And again, you can check out all the articles on the brand new lemony, fresh, sparkling musicindustrycity.com. Brand new website, and if you're registered and signed in, you can post on our wall. We have the communities now. We have forums. It's going to be really great for people to have opportunities to ask questions, to interact with each other. And yes, you can post GIFs or GIFs, as we should say. So please check it out, musicindustrycity.com. We love your feedback. If there's anything you come across that you'd like to see added, or if there's something, a problem, just post in the forum under the support tab, and we'd get right to it. But we'd love to see people post in that public square, saying hi, see how you're doing. Let us know what's on your mind. With that, if there's no takers for jumping on the stage, we're going to be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, and 11 a.m. we kick off the morning show, open format, and then of course we have the music industry news at noon. All right, and that does it for the music industry news at noon on this Tuesday from New York. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'm Peter Schwing, and for all my colleagues, have a rockin' day. Cheers.